I learned that more money doesn't equal more happiness. In fact, the most money led to the most unhappiness. So it was an interesting thing. And now companies make much more money, but it doesn't matter because I learned and had to go through that to understand what really made me happy. So, and okay, so one of my first mentors,
Hey, y'all, and welcome to the Cash Flow Podcast, where we're going to talk about everything related to the money in your small business. I'm your host, Pam, and without further ado, we're going to jump right into our episode. Hello, everybody. Glad to have you here. And this is, as you know, one of our Know Your Map segment podcasts. And I'm really, really excited because today we have joining us Justin Breen, who's the founder and CEO of the exclusive connectivity platform, BR Epic Network. And we're going to have him tell us a little bit about that today. And his newest book, which I love the title of, is called Epic Life. And it features a foreword from none the less than Dr. Peter Diamandis. And it's also been the number one overall book for sales on Amazon Kindle. Overall, number one book for sales on Kindle. That's a big deal, guys. It's also recently made the Wall Street Journal and the USA Today bestseller lists. So we have a celebrity in the house. Welcome,
No. My
Justin.
wife's a celebrity. The It's great to be here. I was hoping you were going to do this interview on a go kart in Germany. Yeah,
In
you-
our gather room.
exactly. Yes.
I love it. Well, I am fortunate enough to have met Justin and am thrilled to have him on as a guest. But why don't you take a quick second just to tell our folks kind of what you do, and then we'll get into the Know Your Network questions.
Sure. It's great to be here. I live a very simple life. It might look complicated from the outside, but really it's very simple. So I only do two things. One, spend time with my family. My wife, Sarah, is a pediatrician and COO of Brepic Network. And then our two sons, Jake and Chase, are 11 and 9. They are both unemployable 9 quick start visionaries. They will never have a job. I'm
Those
either
quick
spending
starts.
yeah, right. Quick starts. Yeah. And then so either spending time with them or talking to slash connecting with the world's top visionaries, and then created two companies based on that purpose.
I love it. And what do are the two companies still in are active and you're working
Oh, yeah.
in them? What do they do?
Yep. So, what my brain does is talk to the world's top ideators and simplify into patterns. Most of the people I talk to are ADD, diagnosed or undiagnosed. Most are very, very, very wealthy. Some are not, but they will be. Um, but the formula for creating a successful global company is very simple, surprisingly simple. It's you see a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global company. So see a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global company. So first company was a journalist for 20 years, created entire business based on how PR firms annoyed me for 20 years. So we connect visionaries to serve connecting visionaries to serve humanity through platforms like these. And then second company, annoyed by platforms that let everyone in because visionaries who are serving humanity and have the capital to do it do not want to be introduced to people that don't have that. So created invite only high price point connectivity platform. It's about to be named one of top 5 masterminds on planet. So it's just the
Love
same
that.
formula. And then you just do what you say you're going to do.
You do it plug and play. Well, and the gift that you have is the is to see that pattern and
Yeah.
get the simplicity out of it that most of
100%.
us miss, quite frankly. Most of us miss the
Well,
pattern
they're
and the
not no.
simplicity.
Okay, yeah, so you don't, and so this is what so all I do is talk to visionaries, so not humans, not business owners, not consultants, just visionaries, and spend time with my family. So these are the 4 things that separate visionaries from and I'd venture to say our firms partner with maybe 1 out of 1,000 people. It's probably less than that, but 1 out of 1,000 is easier to say, and I know you like numbers and it's simple, but so 4 things separate visionaries from humans and business owners. So 1, bankruptcy or potential bankruptcy. 2, depression. 3, the highest level of anxiety that you can imagine. And 4, likely and or possible traumatic experiences as a child or young adult. So for humans, business owners, consultants, those are excuses. And for a visionary, that's the fuel.
That's what
That's
drives them.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you recognize the pattern in the answer, you know that. And then I connect people like you because you help the small business owner, you help the employee. Like,
Mhm.
So that's why it works. And then what a visionary actually is most of the people, if almost all of them actually are at least three of the four things. The people that
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
talked
that
to,
makes sense.
right? The most successful ones usually all four. I'm three of the four. In since COVID, I've talked to four people that are less than three of those four things. When I first started first company, I was still talking to small business owners, and they were, maybe one or two, some employees, one or two, sometimes zero. And then
Okay.
so the visionary has three of those four things, if not all four, and then they have the highest IQ/EQ. So they're the most
Ah,
imitative, they have
okay.
the best coping skills, and the IQ is pattern recognition. So most people don't have the IQ to spot the pattern.
Got it. But you
No.
said high EQ as well.
Yes, 100%.
Got it. That one surprised me that that would be sort of a requirement of a
Ah.
visionary.
Well, it's not a requirement, but they either have IQ or EQ at a very
Or okay, got it. It's an either or kind of thing.
correct.
Sometimes,
That's
but
a
are there
great
folks
point. That is a great point. Here's why that's a great point. So there's 2 types of geniuses. There's 2 types. There are 2 types, not theirs.
Mhm.
Okay. So one is the genius brain. Everyone I talk to has a genius brain. So these are really high
Okay.
IQ, but these people, many of them are cyborgs. They have no human understanding of
Got it.
anything.
Yep.
Then there's the genius heart. So that's the hippie on the street corner, the someone playing a guitar, the kumbaya, but they don't have a genius brain, so they're
Got
not
it.
they're not they're not doing anything with it. They can't leverage the genius heart.
Yep.
What the people I connect and that have joined our networks and PR firms partners, they have the genius brain and the genius heart
Plus,
combined. And
that
that's
makes
the real
sense.
magic. Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that. I love it. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for taking the time to come on here. And your work in particular, I mean, everything is about relationships. And this is what we're
Everything.
discovering, especially now. I think people are appreciating it more and more
Oh yeah.
as, both post COVID and kind of AI stuff. So I
Yeah.
am fascinated to ask you a few questions
Okay.
that we ask on this podcast. And yours in
Okay.
particular intrigues me. And clearly you're on I actually don't even know if I would call it an entrepreneurial journey as much as a more of a mission and a
No,
vision
they're
that you've got.
visionary. Yeah, so again, everything's a pattern and an answer. So business owners, humans, consultants, they care about revenue, office space, employee count. They're trying to change their world there.
Yeah,
True
yep,
visionary. True visionary cares about purpose, spending time with loved ones, connectivity. They're changing the world.
the world, right.
It's a different world. It's a different world.
So thinking back to the beginning of your path down this road, like I'm
This
curious
world.
when it sort of evolved, but also who was the very first person you can remember who really had an impact on your trajectory into this? Really, it is esoteric, but yet it's not. It's simple and
Big word.
practical as well.
Well,
Um,
100% because it's the genius, brain, and heart. And again, the genius brain is great,
mhm.
but if there's no human understanding at all, that's a very tough life.
Yeah,
Very okay, so and your father was in the Navy, is that correct?
that is true. Yep.
Okay, alright. So to answer your question, my father, he was 61 when I was born, 61. He was born in 1916, and he was a World War II hero, first lieutenant, in the Army.
Wow.
And, shot down multiple times in combat, many times without a parachute, and would just get back into a plane. So you're
Jeez.
either born like that or you make an excuse, and I don't. That's my litmus test. You're either someone who can do that or you're not.
Yep.
No gray area in this world. It's either you can do.
Right.
Okay, so he died when I was 13. He became an attorney in Nuremberg Nazi war crime trials. After he died,
Wow.
I found a diary that he had written from the Battle of the Hurtgen Forest, one of the deadliest battles toward the end of World War II. For those who have read Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, it wasn't that horrific, but pretty close, pretty close.
Wow.
There are excerpts of my dad's diary, An Epic Life. And then chapter one, the title of that chapter is The Cream Rises to the Top. So when he was alive, every day my dad would say, The cream rises to the
The
top.
cream rises to the I love that.
Yeah.
So that's your first big influence, and it sounds like you learned a lot from him, or at least not
Still
learned a
do.
lot from him, but you absorbed a lot.
Still do. Well, it's a great, yeah, really high IQ. You have intuition. So you have both. You have both. And then I have really high intuition. I can hear it, and you can hear it, and I can hear it, and
Mhm.
and that.
Gotcha,
Okay.
gotcha. Yep.
So, I was a child. I was 13 when he died, so I
Uh,
absorbed it, but now I really absorb it. And then our sons reinforce that. Our oldest is 11 years old. He's named after my dad.
cool.
His fastest 5K time is 20 minutes, 38 seconds. Most adults could never even think about
Not
doing
this
it.
adult for sure.
Well, most adults most adults could never even, yeah, so and then our 9-year-old, he and I talk about IQ and bending time, and then he already wants to take over both companies. He's
Oh,
the and what
sweet.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I
Yeah,
love it. Okay, that is awesome. So you're having the same impact on them just living how and who you are that your dad had and still has on you in his
thanks for
writings
saying
and
that.
in your
Thank
memories. That's fantastic.
I really
Okay,
appreciate you saying that, thank you.
that is awesome. Okay, so moving along from that, I love that. I'm gonna have to really think about that because I that gives me I've written down a thing to circle back because you raised the dad thing. I want to go back and I
Okay,
certainly have absorbed a lot of that myself, and I never thought about it that way
100%.
until we talked.
No, I could see it immediately, that's why I asked about your dad, I could see
Huh.
yeah.
Very cool. All right. So next up, in all of what we do, there are opportunities and there are like landmines that we come across as we go on this kind of crazy journey out on our own. Who is somebody that you connected with who either kept you from walking headfirst into a landmine or like gave you like led you to the opportunity or an experience that you were like, holy cow, I never would have expected this.
So part of my dad's diary, he talks about dropping bombs on Nazis and the reaction of that. So I'm literally thinking about that, stepping on a landmine or a
Ah,
bomb.
okay, gotcha.
And so I don't believe in failure. I don't believe in defeat. Like you just a true visionary would never believe in that or would never stop. But what I will say, um, I've been an entrepreneur since like April-ish 2017.
Okay.
So almost 7 years, 0 business background, now 2 global companies that only partner with top visionaries, or ones who will make the investment to do that.
Yep.
But the first couple of years, I had no idea what I was doing, and, the first company, which is the PR firm, I had made at the end of 2018, I'd made more money in 1 year than I ever thought possible, and, had never been more miserable in my life. So I was like, that it was
Huh.
a different kind of landmine, I guess, than you'd probably
Yep, it is a
recommend.
landmine.
Well, it is, and, so it was really difficult at the time. I talk about it a lot in the first book, Epic Business,
Okay.
but, I learned that more money doesn't equal more happiness. In fact, the most money led to the most unhappiness. So it was an
Mm,
interesting thing. And now companies make much more money, but it doesn't matter because I learned and had to go through that to
yeah,
understand what really made me happy. So, oh, and okay. So, one of my first mentors, Colin, I'm not involved politically in anything, but his company, he's a pure visionary. He runs a political consultancy firm
okay.
in Illinois. Very high level visionary. And so I was asking him about this. I go, why? I don't understand. I'm making all this money and the companies are doing well. My wife and I had just been on the Today Show for being international national dating experts. That's another story. But I'm like, so all
I was
these
gonna
cool
say,
things,
wow, that came out of
right,
nowhere. Good,
much
very
more.
cool.
Right. So like all these things are going great. Why am I so miserable? So he's like, the reason why I was miserable, by the way, was like when you go from being a journalist, I was a journalist for 20 years. When you go from a paycheck every 2 weeks for 20 years of your life, and then you don't go into journalism to make money. So then you
No,
start an
good point.
entrepreneur journey and then make all this money, but it's an always like trying to get next client, next client, next client, next client.
Yeah,
And it's just an overwhelming feeling. So I was talking to Colin about it, and he's like, it's okay. Every single entrepreneur has gone through something like this because of those 4 things, right? The
truth.
things,
Yep.
and, the key is that you learn from it. That's the key. And so, That really helped me when he said that. I'll
Yeah,
be
I like that. And you need those people to remind you because I tell you what, sometimes when you're in the thick of it, like the last thing I want to hear is I'm going to learn from this. Like I'll tell you that 5 years from now when I learn from it. Right now, it sucks.
it sucks, but okay, I'll double down on that. So, totally understand what you're saying. Now when something like that happens, and it doesn't get like that anymore, but you can still feel it.
Yes,
Um, I'm
the
like,
buzz,
"Oh."
the physical feeling.
You're right, but
Yep.
yes, correct, and then you're like, "Ah, okay, my brain has been trained now like a muscle, so this is just part of
I
what it
love that
is."
you said that because that is spot on. Like
What
what
it
I
is.
started to do is recognize the signals in my body that
Correct,
happen when I'm going to go down a rabbit hole that I don't want to go down of my
correct,
own emotions. And the
correct.
earlier I can catch that, the better. And the more practice, it's just like you were saying, the more practice,
More
all of a
practice.
sudden you get a little bit better at it. I
Correct.
love that you just covered that. I think that's just so important for people to understand. You can train yourself out of constant misery.
If you have the IQ and EQ, you can.
If you have the IQ and EQ. And that great point. It is those 2 things combined. I love that. All right. Okay, here we go. We know for sure entrepreneurship is a little crazy. And one of the things that's happened to me, like where I've been in like a really tight spot, like one of those things we were just talking about, and I'm like, I don't even know how to get out of this thing. Like I'm
Right?
stuck. My brain can't figure
Yep,
this out. Have you
yep.
ever found yourself in that kind of situation and then somebody in your network or that became part of your friends or relationships said exactly the right thing that dug you out? Or even if they just came and sat with you for a minute, that now has been sort of a forever person in your circle now?
Thank you for asking that. It's interesting because 99.9% of the time, that's how I help people. I
Yeah.
think a journalist for 20 years, most people like to talk. I don't like to talk unless it's on a show like this.
Mhm.
And then most of the people I talk to are full ADD. Again, it's not a disorder, sign of genius mislabeled by humans. And they
Yeah,
just
well said.
ramble, right? They just talk.
Got it.
So now
Yep.
you're blah, 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 and then simplify.
Huh.
What I will say to that is people like us, usually, but not always, again, usually, but not always marry stabilizing humans.
Truth.
And then my wife is a pure stabilizing human, pediatrician, and
Yep.
then transitioning out of pediatrics as she's become COO of Brepic Network. But whenever there's a really, really big situation, her opinion is the only one that matters to me.
I love that. That's a
So
great way to put it.
starting first company, starting second company, writing book, writing second book. That's it. I'm like, so if she
Got
says
it.
yes, great. If she says no, then no.
Then no, that's perfect, and then that just says so much about the level of trust and knowing your own strengths and what you need to get something to really get pushed through. That's just
Correct.
brilliant, and it is true. The crazier folks are,
Um,
crazier I am,
you
the more
always think
stable Deb
visionaries no,
gets.
no, 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 no. Humans think visionaries are crazy because they don't
Right.
understand, and there are only 4 types of visionaries, only 4. 1, ADD, ADHD. 2, Asperger's, minor Asperger's, that would be me. 3, dyslexia. 4, astronomically high IQ and or EQ. So a regular human can't they don't understand this. They never
So the
will.
only way you can deal with it is to put a label on it, essentially.
Well, yeah, so humans attention deficit disorder. Humans want order, so they label a genius who's who's
As
rambling and all over the place with endless ideas and
as the
trying to have
crazy one.
crazy or a disorder. It's not a
It's
disorder at all.
interesting. I talk to a lot of people about this, and I think of it so much as not a disorder, as it is
God,
a wonderfully unique way
it's
to
good.
look at things, see them, and perceive them that is actually more grounded. Maybe not the right word, but there is a word I'm looking for than the way the rest of us or the
Humans,
normal people think
human.
about it. There's more perspective. There's more sense about it. By that I mean
It's
sense is.
illogical for me, it's illogical, to live like a human. It's always been. So people like us are usually aliens within our own family community and
There
vertically.
you go. Yes.
What it
Until
is.
you create a network where it's not only accepted, but celebrated and everybody's
100%.
yeah. And that's what and how did you say BR epic?
It's funny because most people say that. It's Brepic, but it doesn't
It
really
is
like,
epic.
it
Okay.
doesn't really matter because, like, it's, I'll give you a perfect example. I appreciate you asking that. So, I'm ringing the Nasdaq bell in a couple weeks, like, and I
Oh,
know
cool.
now,
What day?
February 5th, February 5th.
Yes, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Okay.
Awesome.
I know nothing about finance. I know you're in finance. I don't care about finance. I hate talking to my financial advisor. I don't care about cash flow. I never have. Okay. I'm just letting you know. So one of my friends, great visionary, right? Because when you connect visionaries to serve humanity, visionaries want to connect you to. So one of
Yep.
them's on the board of Nasdaq, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to ring the bell?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then I go to him. I had one question. I go, "Can I wear this hat, which my dogs have chewed up, and can I wear this shirt?" Like that's the only thing I cared about. So like, people are like,
That
"Oh,
correct.
you're
Yep.
ringing with that?" I'm like, "I'm gonna be wearing this
Yeah.
hat and this shirt." But that's how I live my life. Like the things that matter to me, and the things that don't, I just don't even think about.
They don't. Yep, that's true. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to check it out on February 5th and give it a special appreciation for that bell when I hear it go off on my
Thank
computer
you.
that day too.
Thanks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the last question is more, kind of future looking. So you're a visionary. So you're already 20,000 years in the future.
Mm.
What keeps that horizon there for you? Like, do you
Such,
ever
such.
reach a thing and
No,
like,
no, no, no. Incorrect. Incorrect.
huh?
So, I don't live in years or decades. Most of the people I talk to are very high in Gallup Clifton Strength Finders. They're very high in ideation and or futuristic. I'm
You are
very.
bending time.
What's that?
You are bending time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you're a
Yeah.
high D in disc, by the way.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't.
Got it.
Okay. Are you a high D in it? You have to be a high D.
I honestly
You have.
cannot remember my
You
results.
have. You have to be.
Um,
Okay. So, my son Chase and I were talking about this. I will try to answer this as simply as possible, but it's kind of hard to. But so he and I were talking about bending time and IQ, and Chase, when he was 8, provided the best single definition of life that I've ever heard, ever. And he was 8; he's 9 now. But so he considers life one long great day. Yesterday's before you were born, and tomorrow's after you die. So there's no years or Tuesday or whatever that nonsense is.
uh-huh.
And So he's a simplifier like I am,
I love
and
that. One
he
long
could.
great day.
Yeah, so the 2 ways to have a great day, 2, only 2. Less is more, right? So 1 is create more living things. The fundamental purpose of any living thing is to create more living things, so that could be a human child, planting a tree, creating a company, foundation, whatever that is. I don't think there's an argument against that. No one has yet.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
got
we all know.
nothing.
Okay, and then 2, do what you like to do and what you're good at and just keep getting better at it. So all I like to do is connect visionaries to serve humanity and just keep getting better. Okay, so that's one. Second part to that is you're here for one long day, hopefully, right? So all I consider myself as is a bridge between the lessons my dad and my mom's still alive. She was 27 when I was born. She the lessons they have taught me and then their parents taught them. So and then I'm a bridge between that and then my children, their 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 children. So the to your question, the narcissist the narcissist looks toward the goal because they can only see their goal. They can't see past themselves. I see way past myself. Way, way, way,
Yeah.
way past myself.
I g this is just a bizarre and everything always happens for a reason. For
Oh,
whatever reason,
100%.
probably as a result of this conversation coming along, I have been spending time thinking about that very same chain, like,
Right.
in all sorts of weird ways. Like, I'm just
Right.
gonna tell this story because it is strange and it is such
Not
the kind
strange
of
at
thing that
all. I don't
happens.
believe in randomness at all. Ever.
Bingo, exactly. I happened to be on I forget what day it was, let's call it Sunday. Decided I wanted to go for a walk. It was raining outside, so I couldn't. So I just walked in circles through the living room, dining room, kitchen, just kept looping. And all of a sudden I
Right.
saw this picture of my mom and dad in the curio cabinet. I thought, "Oh, that's a really good picture." My daughter just got married, and I think
Hmm.
she and her husband are standing with her on the left and him on the right. And oh, there's my mom on the left and dad on the right in their wedding picture.
Hmm.
So I'm going to do a quick side by side of those things
Hmm.
and send it to Lindsay and just say, "Hey, I'm thinking of you. And, very cool to me that,
Yep.
this lineage exists.
I'm listening. Keep going.
Yep. No, I get you. And so that happened just this weekend. And then not long after that, I'm watching a TV show, exact same thing about lineage and passing things through and on.
Yeah.
And I love the bridge comment because that like just totally encapsulates what this week has been in my thought process. That is so cool.
It's logical. That's logical. So I'm trying to find this photo that will double down on your point if I can find
Ah,
it.
oh yeah, I
It's
could probably find the one I'm talking about in here
oh
too.
my god,
Actually.
it's not that one. I created a oh, here it is. Here it is. Can you see this? Can you see that?
Not yet, but now I can. Yes. Yep.
So that's my dad, who was a great baseball player, and then my oldest son, Jake, who's a
I love it.
so it's the same
That
thing.
is so funny. Look, this is the one I just took this week. That's mom and dad on the
Oh,
left. That's my daughter and her husband on the
that's
right. And
logical. Right.
and now we're
100%.
having that conversation, which I'm this thing. I'm just like a
100
conduit. I love
Okay.
it.
So my favorite pattern, that so again, the key to life is recognizing patterns and then creating your own. So my
Mhm.
favorite one is right mindset, and this is about networking. So right mindset attracts right network, creates right opportunities. Again, I'll say it slower. Right mindset attracts right network, creates right opportunities. By the way, wrong mindset attracts wrong slash no network, creates no.
Amen.
So people ask me, what do you cost or charge? By people who live in scarcity excuses, by people who wouldn't get shot down in a plane without a parachute and get back in another one, like my dad. By why is it by? One, they have the wrong mindset. Two, they take time away from me and my family. So why would I
Which
talk?
is your number one goal next to this second one. Yep.
Right. And why wouldn't that be? I talk to 1 to 2 entrepreneurs every single week that have let entrepreneur life destroy their family life or prevented
Oh
them from
yeah.
anything. So that's why I wrote Epic Life, how to build collaborative global companies while putting your loved ones first. It's the same
I love
pattern. See a problem, create solution, problem solve, successful global
it. Yeah.
company.
I think that's awesome. And folks, just a reminder, this thing has slammed its way up onto Wall Street Journal book list, as well as New York Times, right?
You
USA Today. So this is a definite read for me. I can't tell you how fascinating and awesome it is to talk to you, Justin. And I am just so glad that you came to my podcast to have this conversation. It fits it in so many ways with what we're trying to get across here. And you've added so much separate and extra value as well. I just really appreciate it. I know your time is so valuable. And I also know that people are going to get an awful lot out of this conversation. So the one thing I want to tell people, if you're interested in a little bit more about I keep wanting to say
say
Brepic
it.
Network.
Doesn't matter.
It's
Yeah.
www, and we'll put this in the podcast notes and in the YouTube notes, www.brepicnetwork.org. So www.brepicnetwork.org, and you can find out even more about this fascinating human. And thank you
Really
again
human.
so much. Now we're going with fascinating. This has been a great conversation, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Have a really good one. I hope that video was helpful, and I hope you subscribe to my channel for more information on finances in your business.